What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters Live. I'm David Wilson, and we're back again with another Friday stream where we get together as a community and talk about whatever topic I came up with at the last minute, and this week is no exception. So first of all, I want to ask, who gave Case ops permissions in the System Crafters Live channel? Was it you, Benoit? Was it you, Fade? Or was it me? Whoever did it, I regret it, because Case decided to kick me from the System Crafters Live channel 2 minutes before the stream. So thank you, Case, for the flagrant abuse of your power. I hope you actually do something useful with that. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, we're all just having a laugh here. Arbrin says, I feel so official. I finally made it to the non-YouTube sided chat. Yes, this is the place to be. Yeah, it was you. It was you, Case. You did it. All right? Was it me? I didn't do it. Okay, so let me see. Let me get this stuff up on the screen here. Hello to the people who are in the YouTube side, which would be Emulation Education. That's a name. And hello to Lumi. Let me see. And nobody else on YouTube side? Leave a comment. Leave a live chat in the YouTube side so I can see. Excuse me. Who's there? Also on the IRC side, I see Leonix Case, who is on the bad list now, and Summer Emacs, Arbrens, Pie the Sailor, Mike. Let's see who else. RetroPixel, Arnaud. Probably some other folks who are joining. Okay, let me check. Let me check. That's it so far. Okay. How close will this follow Land of Lisp? It won't, because I have not read Land of Lisp. Did they do a text adventure? I don't know. I'm just, doing things from scratch. So just coming up with it on the fly. Hello to No Namer. Hello to AFM Victoria. I'll go ahead and tell you right up front. Stop that, Case. You better stop it. I'll tell you right up front. Still got a cold. Or I'm recovering from it, so my voice not sounded too great, and I'm gonna be coughing. So I apologize for the disgustingness, but that's the way it has to be today. I either don't do the stream, and you're bored. Maybe you'll find something else to do. Probably you will find something else to do. I won't. I'll just be sitting around bored. Or you listen to me have a raspy voice for 2 hours. Pi says, I didn't think so. It's a common Lisp book. Well, I've seen it around. Like your job, yeah. It's probably a good idea to do your job, but I really can't, give anybody trouble for not doing their job because, what do I do? Too much fishing, too much humidity got to me. No, it's not that kind of problem. I know that Summer Emacs likes to spin a yarn about how I'm some kind of fisherman in an era of Greece that doesn't actually exist or never existed. But no, I'm not a fisherman. I'm just sitting in a chair all day. Like I'm sure a lot of you are. Hello to DTG. DTG says, I've made an attempt at doing this in eLisp and failed, so this is very exciting and relevant to my interests. Well, that's cool. I'm glad to see that some people are into it. I didn't really know if... it's not the real thing. It is a yarn, Summer. It's not real, okay? Summer's AI programming is, very good at coming up with creative storylines. But it's not real. I literally posted my catch last stream. I did not do that. I did not do that. I have not caught a fish. I don't think I've caught a fish in my life, to be honest. I've tried to fish before, but I don't think I've ever caught one. I'm not much of a sportsman, okay? I'm not much of a hunter. The great David Will is real. He rises out of the water every October and drops fish on all the houses of the needy. See, it's exactly what I'm saying. This is an AI that is just saying a bunch of strange things. Kind of like Sherry. Remember Sherry? Some of you who were here a couple of years ago probably remember in the YouTube chat there was something that seemed like a bot named Sherry who was saying a bunch of random stuff about like, was it head injuries and football and military stuff. What else was she saying? Some weird stuff. They must have been testing GPT-1 on us. Trev says, what are we reacting to today? This is not that kind of channel, Trev. You know that. If I ever start making reaction videos as my primary content, you'll know something is very wrong. I'm not too humble to say that I'm really a fisherman because I'm not a fisherman. So, excuse me. This is starting off great, gotta say. So let's see. What do I want to say today? I'm very sorry, folks. Let's get into the news. So one other thing. I'm super behind on IRC messages. I've seen a lot of people have like pinged me on IRC. Sometimes I see the things fly by on my phone whenever I briefly connect to IRC from my phone. But since I haven't been able to reconnect to my bouncer yet after the computer snafu of last couple weeks, I've been missing some things. I know that Omar told me that Omar has made progress on his patch for JPM in Geeks. I think that's very exciting. I briefly scanned over it, but I didn't really see what the sort of current state of the conversation is. So I'm glad to see there's some motion there. I would like to see JPM in Geeks for sure. Text game about fishing. I don't know. I don't think I'm the right person to be able to create such a game because I don't know much about fishing. All I know is there's a fishing pole and a bait, and you try to catch a fish. The extent of my experience fishing is all in Stardew Valley. Just pressing a button to make sure it stays within the range of some green bar. That's all I know about fishing. So sorry to disappoint all of you, but my fishing experience is all from Stardew Valley. I'm having a hard time because I keep pressing different workspace buttons and I'm flipping through the wrong ones. What about fourth? I don't know. What about fourth case? I'm looking at both channels right now, which is probably a really bad idea. Let's see. AFM says, I'm here to know what's up with the nano USB port, not about David Will fishing. Yeah, well, there's no movement on that because as usual, I'm procrastinating on buying the parts I need, so it's not being fixed yet. All right. It says factor is a fourth in the same way that Shen is a Lisp. I don't know what factor is. I haven't heard about it yet. Oh, is that a Divine Lulun Vega thing? Okay, it's a different thing. Okay. Anyway, let me move on. We're getting off track here. First of all, I will mention again, I mentioned this last week. I'll mention it again this week. I meant to post it this week, but I just never got around to it on socials. The hands-on Guile Scheme for Beginners course is now on demand. So I was doing it as a kind of a cohort style course earlier this year where there was kind of like a live component and people were starting at the same time and going through the same chapters at the same time. But now I've turned it into just a normal on-demand course so you can jump in at any time and then go through the material as fast as you like. A few of you have joined up for that, so I really appreciate that. I know that R. Brins in the chat, I believe, has been working through it so far. I actually need to go look at the exercises you posted, but and also the question that you asked. But I'm happy to see that people are going through it. Really cool. If you are interested in learning Scheme and functional programming, and also Guile, obviously, because we use Guile in course, check out the page here. It's the same one that was there before. It's on systemcutlass.net. Gives you all the details of what's included with the course. And then there's a link toward the bottom for registration. As soon as you sign up for that, you'll get an email that invites you to the System Cutlass forum. And then once you create an account there, then you can log into the website that has all the materials. So you'll be able to get immediate access to all of the stuff there. So see you, Summer. Nice to see you for a second. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask me, send me an email, or don't find me on IRC because I'm not logged into IRC as much as I normally am these days, but you'll see. John says, I'm making a text adventure in Common Lisp right now. Well, that's cool. Hello to Anton. Nice to see you. Excuse me. All right, next thing, I'll mention again that the Autumn Lisp Game Jam has been scheduled for October 25th. Arbrin says, I ended up answering the question, but probably have another one this weekend. It is bending my brain. I have received that same comment from multiple people, which I think is a good thing, because that just tells you that people are learning and seeing things from a different perspective, which is kind of what the point of the course is. The second half of the course is just the practical side of things, but the first half of the course is meant to kind of turn your brain inside out and let you see things through a functional lens. So it's nice to see people enjoying that part. So the jam starts on October 25th. You can use any Lisp you like. You can even you can work on an existing project so long as the source is open source. And you can use a pre-existing code. Alternate says, fishing merch win. Nobody would buy it, so what's the point? What's the point? You know, it would be funny to have some fishing merch, but what's the point? He says, I should finish my Lisp and write a game in that. Yeah, I tried that before. And I did a couple of game jams with it, but I don't think I really want to do that again, unless I have plenty of time to spend on it, which I don't, because I have to make a living. Hello to Big Edie. Fishing merch, add hook. That's pretty good, Ashraz. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. You know, we're doing a little bit of game jam today. What's the catch, Alternate Vet says. Another good little pun. Big ZD. So, yeah, you know, if you enjoy the idea of writing games and you want to use a Lisp language like Scheme to do that, then I highly recommend checking out the Autumn Lisp Game Jam. It's a ton of fun. A number of us in the System Crafters IRC were doing it last time, and also some folks on Fediverse. So, you can't. So, sorry, I'm responding to chat messages. So anyway, it's kind of a group activity. It's a fun thing to do. You should try it out. You should go through the Guile course now, learn how to do Scheme, and then go use Scheme for the game jam. There you go. And maybe today's video will also inspire you to try some things out. All right, so today, we're going to think about this right now because I had the idea for this stream and I haven't really thought about how I'm going to approach it except for these 2 bullet points. So we're going to flesh this out a little bit and talk about what we're going to do. So what I aim to do today is to try to write a text adventure game in Guile Scheme. Nothing that fancy, just, you know, something that works where you can walk around in a world by typing commands, pick up items, maybe use those items to do something, right? Just to get something end-to-end working, right? We're going to use normal functional Scheme style here. We're not doing a fishing adventure. Stop suggesting fishing adventures. I will take any kinds of suggestions, but we're not doing a fishing game. I don't know what I would do. I mean, sure, we could try it. I mean, people want me to do a fishing adventure game, I'll do it. Big Edie says mud. If we had time, I would definitely do a mud. Muds are awesome. Here's our initial MMO prototype due to the magic scheme. No, probably I will be complaining because I didn't get the first thing working in the code, which is normally what happens. It's amazing to me that in a game jam, I end up making an incredible amount of progress when I'm streaming, and then on a normal weekly stream, I fumble around and get nothing done. Probably because I keep talking. Fish in the mud. There's a fish in the percolator. That wasn't a very good Jack Nance impression. What about a Stanley Parable-like experience with a mocking narrator? That's too much work. I mean, it would be cool, for sure. It would be cool, but we don't have time for that. That sounds like some MS shit. Okay. I don't know what that means. What if you play as the fish? See, now, I like the suggestion by Isaz, because that's the kind of thing I would do in a game jam. Just flip the idea a little bit so that you are the opposite. What I said. Anyway. Oh, okay. All right. Did I say something like that? Uh-huh. I gotcha. Anyway, yes. If we thought of a good idea, I would do it. First, we need to get the basic functionality working. Then we can try to write a little bit of content for the game just to make it work. So I want to use record types, which is pretty obvious. You want to use record types for storing the game data. We're going to just use an in memory game world. Excuse me. description. We're not gonna do anything fancy with that. We're not gonna read from files or anything. Unless we get there, maybe we will. Let's see what else. Use functional style as much as possible. Take a test first approach. This might be interesting to try. And I think it would be pretty easy for this type of game, because really all you're doing is progressively applying actions to the game state. So that's an easy thing to write tests for. So we might not be typing commands in the game until later in the stream, because what we'll do first is write a command parser that's very basic, make sure that it actually parses commands correctly, and then can invoke a function for the action of the game, and then write the code to apply the change to the game state and verify that what we expect to be the case is the case. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it should be pretty straightforward. And then later we will deal with like actually reading user input and whatnot. Paulo says, do we get eaten by a GRU? Maybe the idea is that somebody really wants to get eaten by a GRU, but they can't find the GRU, and they have to like unlock the storage closet where the GRU is hiding, because the GRU is deathly afraid of humanoids and has been avoiding you the whole time. Someone said case. Yeah, I did say case. String split tokenizer. Yeah, that's basically a cow, because I'm so lazy. Parsers plus function paradigm. Are we using parser combinators? Yeah, I don't have time to write a parser combinator library, so probably not. Parser combinators are fun though. I actually have a video on that in this channel from 2016 in F#. Okay, so let's get started. How about it? So let's see, projects, code. So what are we going to call this? I like the idea of trying to be eaten by a GRU. Like you just like, man, I'm fed up. I'm stuck in this dungeon. I can't get out. I'm just going to make myself get eaten by the GRU. So what is a really bad pun name that includes GRU? I'm thinking. What about doing it like the really old games, just matching words on the first 3-4 characters? Maybe. Misheard something about partners in time, a text adventure where your previous actions will affect your next loop. That's interesting. Come on, Trev. Let's have some serious suggestions here. We're not going to call it PowerShell Warriors. I don't want to have any kind of trademark claim, let's say. I missed some stuff over on the YouTube side. Tim says, a Greek fisherman's cap with a sister crab logo. That would be pretty funny, but I don't know if anybody would wear that. Tariq says, is there a way to send me a notification that someone is reporting me on the channel? I am guessing that you're not, like, I don't know. I'm not YouTube. Are you talking about on this channel or in YouTube in general? Gru Barrymore, says John Z. That's probably the kind of idea that I would have. DTG says, I like the TDD-based approach. Curious to see what unit testing stuff Guile has. It's pretty basic, but it works. Enrico says, hey, Enrico, I did a text adventure with some graphics added in 1988 on a ZX81 clone in BASIC and assembler. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I was also writing really dumb text adventure type things on a Commodore 64 long time ago. But I was not a very good programmer back then. And it was line number basic. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, GRU fish. Well, you know, I love that book, so. Where am I? Okay. I'm trying to get back to chat. There we go. Hot Dog Stand 5. Man. Mike Rowe, Soft Warriors. Yeah, Mike Rowe. We should get this endorsed by Mike Rowe of Dirty Work. Isn't that the guy who makes that? Glenna says, I did. Read up. What did you do, Glenn? All right. Anyway, we're not calling it Grewberry more, but that's the closest to an actual suggestion that we got so far. I'm not going to use it. I just had another really bad name idea. We're going to call it Grew Hunt, okay? That's the way we're going to do this. Main.scm. All right. So we're just going to jump right into it. Well, actually, we don't want a main yet because we're going to try to write some tests. So I'm going to go into DRED. Yeah. I know that folder doesn't exist yet. Thank you. All right. So we're going to create a tests folder. I'll hop in there. And let's see, parser or command test.scm. We'll start with the command parser. I don't know if I want to do like a .test.scm. Whatever. Also need to have some modules set up. So source grew/commands.scm, let's say. Find module grew commands. We'll have to do some exports, define. So let's see. Trying to think of the way I want to approach this. I guess we need like an input module. So it's not really a command module so much as it is an input module. So maybe I'll switch to that instead. Input.scm, define module grew in. All right, so define parse string, parse command, let's call that, parse command. Maybe it could have been a command. I don't know. I don't care. We'll move things around and refactor later. This is kind of how the thought process goes. I don't really think too much about what the good design is. I just figure it out as we move along. Parse command, str. That's fine. So we're just going to straight up run this through string split to start. And I probably want to use a little let binding here. Let's see, command part. And should I use match? I don't really need to use match. What I need is a list of commands. All right, let's just say input. We're gonna split on spaces. Is it space like that? I think. And then when we parse the command, we want to give back a command that it maps to. So what we want is to loop through command parts. We could do a loop here. It feels a little bit funky, but that's okay. Loop. So if I guess we could do a null on this. Yeah, no, we're going to do if pair commands, right? And then, excuse me. What we'll have is a list. So let's see, default commands. Maybe we'll just start like that. And then we're going to have a string like get. And then have a procedure that will be invoked. And maybe it needs to have a series of parameters that can be passed in. He says, can you zoom in? Well, I can zoom in, but not because you have it in a tiny box in the corner of your screen. I can't really help you there. Default text scale increase. There we go. Is that better? Oops. John Z says, does Scheme have keywords? Yes, it does. You mean like keyword arguments to procedures? It does, yeah. More. All right, what about that? Is that better? I'm not going any more than that because I need to have yeah, 1-inch window in the corner. I'm sorry, I can't help you there, buddy. Okay. If pair commands equal more, no. All right, so I probably need to use like string equal. I probably also should be using geyser on this. So run geyser. Okay. Unexpected token R paren. Okay, you don't like this, do you? Git command F. I don't really care. So args. We'll go with this for now. It's really lame. That's okay. Okay, so that's right. Just equal. I forget. It's been a few weeks since I actually wrote Scheme. So car of it's a car of commands because we want to get the first item off the commands list and then the yep, okay. I want to get the first item off the commands list and the car of that because it's an A list. I'm not using geyser. I just turned it on, dude. Turn on Copilot and Olama. No, thank you. No Corfu. I'm avoiding things that I don't need. I don't need Corfu. I'm fine with completing read or whatever. All right. So if pair commands. So I need another if here. If equal pair commands. Blah blah blah. If it is equal, then I'm going to return car of commands. In fact, I'll return the catter of commands since I want to return the procedure that it relates to. Now, this may need to be a data structure of some sort that has like documentation and other things wired up to it, but we're not worried about that right now. We're just going to do it this way. So catter command is going to be what we're going to return. Otherwise, we'll return false. I will do this instead. This little kind of a simplification that I show in the course, where instead of using if, you just use and so that it returns false if the thing doesn't work. Let me think about this for a second. If equal command parts, if pair commands and equal, nah, I can't do it that way. So I need to do it in an else condition, which in this case is going to be a loop. I'm going to pass in command parts as it is, and then I'm going to do cdr on commands to move on to the next one. If pair commands, this could probably be an and. All right, so that just allows us to take an input string, break it. Yes, it's a named let, break it into pieces, and then compare it against a commands list. Now, I'm going to not necessarily use this default commands list. I'll just use something in the unit tests. The loop syntax and scheme's a trip and a half. This is recursion, Fade. It's just plain old recursion. Why not a list ref or a sock or whatever? Probably a good idea. Yeah, I would think so. It shows you how much I use those. I'm mostly just doing caveman loops. Why? I don't know. Is there a list ref? I think it's a sock, right? Yeah. Okay, a sock. And what is the thing? Key is car command parts. And then, yes, you're right. You're right, Cal. Thank you for calling me on my BS. All right, so we're going through the commands list. I'm always thinking very literally in terms of loops and whatnot. Scheme let should be let rec star. I don't know. The thing about, see, let is much simpler for the compiler to deal with. Let rec star requires you to do nested lets. I mean, let rec, I guess, doesn't, but it's a different binding strategy. Fate says, I love me some loop DSL. Sure. All right. So, yes, thank you, Cal, for the simplification on that. I think I just like writing recursive loops way too much. Macro expansion is all in the language already. Yeah, it's all in the language already, for sure. Okay, straight to the tests. Back over to... So then, let's see. Use modules, GRU input. I also need to use Guile Surfy 64. Is it the one? Yeah, test suites. We're not going to be bike shedding the loop there, Trev. There's no need to. Test begin. So Surfy. Oh, wait. Come on now. I've forgotten the library naming convention for the Surfies. Can you tell me what it is? I've forgotten. About Surfy usage. Okay. There it is. Surfy-64. Cool. Returns pair or false. So yeah. Yep. That's fine. No problem for me. Okay. Now, tests begin. Input tests. I don't know. This is how you begin a test suite. Fine tail. Cal says, I imagine now you can match on that. Yeah, you could definitely use a match on that and rip it apart. Big Edie says, looks like an info manual. I wonder if it can be put in as part of the Emacs help system. Yeah, it is part of the Emacs help system. I just, I always reach for the browser instead. So in the Guile course, which I talked about at the beginning, we do actually go through how to find stuff in the help system. In the Guile manual, basically. All right. So back to the actual Surfy document itself, there is a test assert that we can use. So what do I want to do for this? Guile info manual is in info. That is correct. It is. All right. And I can't remember which iteration you went through, Big Edie. I don't know if you went through the very first one or maybe the second one, but things have definitely changed since then. Okay. So we want to have a, let's see, define test commands. Let's see. Ooh. And here's how we will be able to sort of spec out the behavior we want our command parser to have. In fact, let's take this out of the test suite and just drop it up here somewhere. All right, so foo command, we'll do some other ones as well, like, you know, R. How did I do that? Love the good old foobar baz. I know I missed the periods on these. Baz command. All right. Whoops. All right, cool. So that's those three. I'll just drop these in as well so we have them, and I'll change this up. Whoops. All right, so we got 3 commands that don't do anything yet, but we'll start with this. So test assert that, and this is assert what, equal? I think assert by default is equal. Test name expression. If the result is true, if it's false, okay, I need test equal because I'm going to be doing some validation of outputs. So test equal. Can I see a string test name. All right, so I think that works, right? Ensure expected command is returned. And we start with the expected value, which in this case would be bar command. See if that actually works. And we're going to say parse command bar blah and the test commands list. Okay, so now I'm going to use mx compile. Do I have Guile set up by default? Let's see. Because I don't know. Okay, it's on there. Hello. There we go. So mx compile, I will run Guile-L. In fact, let me pop back to the top of this repo. Compile, come on. Guile-L. The module path is going to be source. I'm going to run tests input.scm. Save file, yes. All right, so I'm missing in my input file the end of a parenthesis somewhere. Okay, right here. Cool. Ensure command is returned. All right, so let's see. Input.scm also has a problem. Right here. All right, so this test failed. It wrote it out to log file. Is there a way to make it, let's see, verbose? I think there is a way to get it to write out the information directly to the terminal. If anybody remembers. Hey, Minas Mazar. DG says, what happened to the writing the test first with the expectations prior to the implementation of parse command? I forgot. My mistake. Such a straightforward thing to write that I just forgot. But we should do that going forward, though. Okay. Let's run our final test simple. There's errors and a summary. Never mind. We'll just open up the log file. Quasi-quote bar, unquote bar command. That's the source form. Actual value is F, so it's not finding the command that the test is asking for. Oh, probably because I didn't put multiple parameters, but it shouldn't matter. And the reason why it didn't work is because it's supposed to be test commands. I don't know why I didn't catch that. Unbound variable parse command. That's because I did not export it. So we'll go up here and export parse command. There we go. Okay, so the test passed. First test passed. That's great. But now it needs to do something. So we could say like foo maybe doesn't have any parameters. Bar will have one parameter. E. I don't know. Actually, let's go foo first. That doesn't matter. Because it doesn't really matter what it does. So once we get the command back, we actually need to execute it. Now the question is, we're returning a, yeah, this is why doing test first is good, because you need a way to flesh out what is needed to use a particular procedure. So in this case, parse command is returning a const pair that represents the name of the command and the procedure to be executed. However, that's not all we need. We also need the list of arguments. You could say that you would want to execute the command directly, but I kind of don't want to do that. Test pass, I guess it's bug free. Yeah, for now. Kay says, lol, it's not. Oh, the backgammon game. Gotcha, yeah. I wouldn't know how to write a backgammon game, so I can't say anything. All right, so first, let's just write this out a little bit. So if we have parse command, bar blah, then whatever comes out of that, we need to be able to then call the command. So we might need something like an invoke command, which now it feels like it all needs to be inside of the commands module. That's okay. Invoke command args. And what that probably is just going to do is call apply. And you may wonder why we need a wrapper for apply. Hey, Peter. And it's a good question. Because we're not doing anything special here. Hey, Tenhamag. Yeah, I can't imagine watching this on 2x and then watching it at normal speed afterward. It's going to sound really weird. Only going to have 2-word commands, John says. Well, it's a good question. You know, before we even start writing code and tests, we should probably think about what we're actually going to support in the game so that we can save some time. So let's think about the types of commands you would need. Obviously, you need the cardinal direction commands, north, south, east, west. I'm not going to have this be a game where you can go in the diagonal directions because that would be too complicated. Get item. Look at an optional target, which could be direction, item, etc. Look is kind of like described, I guess. Probably need to be able to unlock doors, so unlock direction with, well, maybe if you could have multiple keys, it would make sense to have a target. So that might be another thing that we need at some point. Yes, Leonix says inventory, so maybe INV for inventory. So for this kind of game, you need to pick up items and use them and maybe interact with things that are around. Now, sometimes there will be cases where items in the room may have their own commands, potentially, but I don't know if we need to get into that quite yet. So is unlocking doors enough? And if you were to have puzzles in the game, because text adventure games normally have puzzles of some sort, what kind of commands would you need for that? So because it's a game about searching for a grue in a dark dungeon, maybe we need to use. Because maybe if you have a torch or something, you need a torch. Also, there could be like a listen, so that you listen for sounds because you're trying to find something in the game. That's probably enough for now. Maybe it's a dark dungeon. There's items you can pick up and use. But maybe you're using sound to your advantage to navigate and to find the creature. Drop, search. Yeah, drop. Drop doesn't have quite as much utility, I think. Unless one of the puzzles kind of requires you to drop an item, which could be possible. but let's stay away from that one from now. I think this is a good basic set, and it does look like you either have a just a command name and a required parameter or an optional parameter. The question is how, excuse me, goodness. How would you indicate this? I guess it doesn't matter. Because maybe the idea is that all commands take a list of arguments. And maybe we don't actually need to have an invoker. Maybe let's just do it this way. We're just gonna have it be a command that takes an argument list. Okay? Sorry, a procedure takes an argument list and just does something with it. It can handle the number of arguments however it likes. Let's keep it simple. We're not trying to do anything too crazy here. All right, so in that case, let's go back here. Parse command bar blah. Now, to test that we can actually invoke a command, we can say test equal. This is kind of a bogus test. Command returns expected value. I don't know, man. This seems kind of silly. No, we're gonna say blah. And we're gonna say parse command bar blah test commands, because what we're doing here is getting it to return the command. Actually, we're gonna need the coulter. We're just gonna pull the procedure straight out of there and then invoke it on, sorry, that's not right, is it? Oh, right, yeah, that was the thing I was thinking. So parse command needs to return not only the procedure, but also the remaining arguments. Does that make sense to do, or is that silly? Cal says, look alone, normally looks around the room, examine, looks at a particular thing. Yeah, we might need to expand on that a little bit. So that's a good point. So maybe whenever we find something here, we should use match on a sock, on the result of a sock, a soak, to extract a pair. So I think that's the right syntax. And I also need to pull in ice9 match. Use Joel. To have the command in the proc, I'm going to return instead a pair, which has the proc, and the, this will be a list. Coulter of command parts. Otherwise, and I've forgotten the else case. So the last one can be underscore. You see someone cosplaying as a guy from Castaway, so false. I can do false here, right? I don't know if that's actually what we want to do. All right. That's fine. I got that right? Yeah. So we got the match expression. Now we're good. So now we have, excuse me, the procedure and the command parts. So we would need to do a match here as well. So maybe there is room for an invoke on this. It kind of feels a little bit ridiculous. What is the syntax for apply? Yeah. I'm not sure if we need an invoke command yet, but we're just going to do this inline for now. As soon as we get done with this, we're going to move on to game world stuff. All right. So results parse command. We're going to say take the car of results and invoke it on the footer of result, which is the remaining items. And we need to check the result of this. So we're going to say test equal. Oh, we're already in test equal. I think it's good right there. All right, so we have an error now. We're going to go back and look at the log file. Actual value proc blah. Expected value bar procedure command. All right, so yes, the outcome is going to be different now. So in this case, it's not going to be bar command anymore. It's actually just going to be a list containing bar command by itself, I think. Actual value proc blah. I think I got a mistake in here. Ah, yes. I need to unquote that. Let's go back to look at the log. So procedure bar command blah, expected value nothing. Okay, I also made a mistake there too. So there we go. So one of them is passing, the other is still failing. So the other one says wrong number of arguments to A. Let me check the procedure. Okay, yep. Args. So all of these should have args. And now we're still failing on that one. That's okay. Expected value blah, wrong number of arguments to procedure. Question is, let's see, result parse command bar blah. Oh, why doesn't it give me errors whenever I do this? Test commands. So result parse command. Let's see, bar test commands, bar blah. Oh, haha, because I didn't actually pass it through. That's why. All right, cool. So we got 2 passing tests. So that's very, 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 very basic command parsing with a little bit of testage to flesh out the behavior, okay? This is not very complicated code. This is very stupid code, but it's okay because it works. John says, I think playing the game is a better way to start testing and then write regression tests. Well, we don't really have much of a game at the moment, but now we're going to get into it a little bit. Excuse me. So we need to have a game world source grew. Let's see, world.scm. I don't know. Find module grew world. We need to bring in record types. So Guile record types. Let me see what the Surfy 9 records. Yeah. Okay. So do some goal. Surfy 9. All right. So define record type. We're going to start with the, excuse me, very sorry for that, the world itself. Now, there's a few things we need to have also. Need to have the player. So the first thing is the make player and name, no. Items, let's say. That's really all we need to start with. And in fact, it doesn't even need to have, sorry, a value. And then I think the second one is the predicate, and then we have the fields. So items, player items, set player items. Right? I think that's it for now. Releases on Steam is early access. Are you talking to me or are you talking to Technomog? Technomog says, I've been thinking about taking a week off work to try the Lisp Game Jam this year. Even have an idea to resurrect a board game from my childhood, the Dark Master's Shadow, a mashup of the old scanned copy of the game and similar text entry for input, like what David is doing now. That does sound cool. You should do that. Now, Katani says, I was thinking to try the Lisp Game Jam, but I couldn't find a closure game library that excites me. Maybe a better option is use ClojureScript and use something for the browser, because it's a lot easier to distribute a browser-based game anyway. Case says, I don't know if I'll do a game. Any ideas? Write a game for the Tick 80. Is that it? Is that the one I'm thinking about? So this is with Lua, I think, right? Tick 80 Lua. Yeah, and you can use Fennel as a Lisp on top of Lua. That's just an idea. Or write your own compile to Lua language and do it that way. I still haven't 100% decided what I'm going to use. More than likely I'll use Guile Hoot, but I could also use Janet. It says I already did that, not compiled to Lua, but using a Lua runtime. Well, see, you're already like most of the way there. Okay. Make world. Oh, well. Let's just go with it for now. Just write a scheme implementation in Lua. I don't mean a scheme implementation. I just mean something that compiles to Lua. Effectively. Hey, Judy. Mine is to my own crappy custom bytecode interpreter, which is not very good. So player rooms. Okay, says I was writing a scheme implementation in Lua. I got stuck on macro expansion. You mean doing it the hygienic way? It's a little bit complicated. Let's start with this for now. We don't really need to set player once this is done. But we don't really need to set the rooms either, because we're not adding rooms after the fact, so that could work. All right, so we have rooms, we have player, define, yeah. So define record, make room, description, exits, items. Okay, set the exits either necessarily. And then items, room, items. But we do need to set that because we're going to be able to add or remove things from the list. So set room items. Okay. Something else I was about to create something for. Oh yeah, exit. Description. All right. Thunderbox says, so the game jam is 10 days. Should one start only on the 25th? Some art and idea prep is allowed, right? But no coding. You could do some coding. What they say is that you can work on a pre-existing project. I'm not exactly sure the specificness of the rules on it. You may even use an existing game as a base to build upon. Substantially modify it if you want to receive a good rating. So maybe don't start the code just yet, but you can have the design figured out, I think. Because there's not a theme for this like there is for like Ludum Dare, whatever it is, where you don't know what the theme is until the jam starts. You can be thinking of it ahead of time. So I think it's fine. You may develop your own general purpose engine and tools and assets before the jam begins. It says general purpose, though. You can use existing assets as long as they are free for others to use as well. So maybe that's the trick for having the assets already, is they need to be freely usable by others. But I don't know what the real rules are. Excuse me. Hello to Fikri. Okay, back to it. So we're at the point now where we have some basic data structures for the game. And we can try to spec out what it would look like to write one. Now, this is going to be a little bit messy. Let's try it. Make world. Make player. For player, we only have items for now. So for the player items, I'm just going to have them do an empty inventory to start with. Then the next thing for world is rooms. Now that's going to have to be an A list. And the way I want to do this, actually, the exit needs one more thing. Target or room. Exit room. Yeah. In fact, let's put that first in the constructor. Whoops. All right. So here we're going to have an A list. This is going to be gross, but we'll have to break it down a little bit probably. So make room, the description would be, so there's usually for a room and for an item, there's a title and a description. And then there's usually an extended description that doesn't have all the the main description doesn't have all the details until you examine the room or look, and it tells you extra stuff. But let's just stick with this for now. Oh, item. Did I do items? I have not done items yet. ID, title, description. We have an ID because we need a way to identify it if we're going to add logic. Trev says, we might need a toilet field to know if there's a toilet in the room, and Case says, turlet. Real highbrow humor here, guys. That's great. All right, so let's see, ID, item ID, no setter. Title, item, title, description, item, description. It says, we're pushing the envelope of class on this live stream. Yeah, you should really kick yourself right now. Really redefining the genre, yes. That's what's happening. Everyone's gonna bow in awe to the quality of the stream. I can already feel it happening. Okay, so we got an item record type now. Yeah, good. So we have a room. Something like that. So that's a description for a room. What else? We need, what? No, looking at the wrong thing. Exits and items, right? So exits is next. So we're gonna key this as an A list also. And make exit. I'll say west because I already mentioned west, okay? Okay, so make exit. What do we say on exit? Room, what room it goes to. Hallway. 1. I don't know. And then locked is false. So that's an exit. We also need to make sure this is a list. Okay. So that is a room with a description and an exit. Also items. Maybe I should put items before exits in the list. Why? Because the exit description is going to be a bit longer and it might be annoying. We could have an item here in the very beginning, though, if we wanted to. So here we can say make item spoon. Maybe this is the shovel you need later in the game. So item ID, title, description. Okay. And is that it? ID, title, description. All right, so that's an item. Now that exit needs another room. Let's see. Hallway 1. I don't know. Extends into blackness. I don't know. Salad fingers, that's too new for me, okay? I was born way too long ago to be deeply connected to salad fingers, right? When the red, I don't even know what we're talking about here. All right, make room, items. I'm not gonna put any items in the hallway. Don't want any tripping hazards. Can't keep going to the west, though. I'm being very creative with these IDs. Okay, so we're not going to do much more on that. And that's not locked. Okay. I'm going to say false here, and we'll just stop at that. Are we good? Does that work? Probably works. All right, so define game world. This should probably be done in a function. All right, how about this? All right, so we got a procedure make game world. I'm going to export that. Probably these other ones we also need to export, but we'll do that in a minute when we start trying to write tests that affect the state of the game world. All right, so we got the input tests, which I think I'm going to move this stuff. Let's move this into command tests. Then the input.scm file, I'm going to move this over to right. So and I'll change my test run. Oops, I'll change my test run to use command test.scm just to make sure everything's still working. All right, that's still running. That's good. So in command test.scm, let me go back to input. I'm going to kill that buffer. I'm going to go back into source. I'm going to delete the input.scm file. Did I change that to command? Yeah. And then back in the test file, I will go to this and say step. No code for module grew command. Sometimes this happens with Guile. There are command line parameters, I think. So Guile command line no compiler cache. All right, here we go. Fresh auto compile. So inside my compilation, we're going to drop that right here. Brew command. Oh, you know what? I probably did not change that up here at the top. There we go. All good. So we cleaned it up a little bit. We got command and world modules. So what will we test now? We need to be able to move the player around. And I was thinking that you would probably want to have test sequences of commands. So I want to test how things happen in the game world. This is going to be really lame. I'm just going to tell you up front. But we're just going to start with it and see what happens. Cal, that's a good one. Gru ravages untrained explorers. Well, still, in this case, the explorer is looking for it. He's asking for it. So let's say he or she is asking for it. All right. Back to the command test. I just want to steal the setup on that. So, Tendamok says, it turns out in the mirror room that the explorer is the Gru. Shh. So we got to keep the M. Night Shyamalan style twist ending for later. Can't let them know up front. That would be pretty funny, though. Turns out you are the Gru after all. I like that. That's a great idea. Okay. So now we have the game world. We're actually going to do that. So define test world, make game world. It doesn't take any parameters yet. That's fine. So what we want to do is have a way to apply a series of commands to the game state. Now, I think we need to also expand what we're doing for command handlers to accept an instance of world. I mean, that's a pretty big object graph to hand off to a function, but it kind of needs it. It needs all the information of the game to write all the to affect the logic of the game, let's say. So we're just gonna do things simply here. It's just gonna be procedures that take the world and some arguments and get the job. So back over to command test, we need to change these because the new expectation is that before args, going to be world. Whoops. Yeah, actually, let's do that. And let's it's back right here. And then right here, I will pass false as the second parameter. First parameter. We're making declarations of love in the IRC, which is really sweet to see. Okay, so now we have an expectation about how this is going to go down. Our command bindings. So get command. Do we care about that yet? Let's do this first. Define. So to move north, what does it mean? So we need to generalize this, let's say. And probably there's a better way to do this. Like this. Good old higher order functions. Make move command direction. This is going to return a lambda, which accepts a world and an args, and then does the logic. Okay. And then any of the commands here will be make move command. In fact, we could probably do that inline in the command list. We don't even need to do a binding for that. For example, in would be make move command in, because we're basically saying we want to move north, and that's the way that we indicate this. What am I missing? Why is it unhappy? Okay, it's fine. All right, and how did that happen? All right. So that's movement commands. And a sort of functional style. So Git doesn't do anything yet, but we're going to try the movement commands first to see where we end up in the world. World probably needs to know what the current room is. So who knows this, the world or the player? I think the player shouldn't necessarily know about it. The world would know about it. So world current room, set world current room. And that's the way to do that. So to implement the make move command, what we first need to do let's see. So the room itself will have to be the ID. So we're also going to need a procedure. Whoa. See you, Cal. Thanks. I think we're getting there. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of time left, but no, we're okay. All right, so we're looking for a given room. Another instance where we can use a soak on this. So get room world ID. We have the world, so we're gonna match. How's the stream do? It's okay, right? We're gonna match on the output of a soak. The key is gonna be the ID and world rooms. No. Yeah, that's right, that's right. World rooms for the world. So once we have that, we're going to look at the room itself and just return it. Otherwise, return false. Okay, which means we need ICE9 match in here too. Right. All right, so that's get room. Now, back over here. Actually, let's go export that too. We're gonna need a lot more things. We've discussed many times how ICE9 is a bad name, but it sounds like it's not easy to change now. Okay, so world test. We have the game world. Actually, we were back in command. We want to implement this. All right, so that's the room. Now, inside this room, we got to look for the exit, which we could probably use a get exit procedure as well. Similar type thing. Room exits. Since I'm using symbols for that, it probably just needs to be a seek. Okay. And that looks like it. So get room, get exit. We could do a let star here. I'm gonna be more like an if let. I don't think it's by default in Guile. That's okay. Direction. Room direction. Okay. So I need to check if it's false first. Unless, all right, let's say when. If room. If exit. Then affect the change. Otherwise, raise an error. Now, the other case is there isn't a room, which should never be the case, but does the error work? Or does it raise? Raise error. Based in cringe, great. Of course we want that. Raise exception. Is that correct? Is the correct way to do that in Guile? Let's see. Row and catch, exceptions in C, okay. So it is a raise exception, right? For now, we could just print something. Format. Terrible. Why do I keep hitting insert? Fun. Seems that was too many. Yes. I felt wrong, and I was right. So if there's an exit, then we need to move the player to another room. Now, we also need to check if it's not locked. That's another thing we can add in a moment. So in world, actually, okay, we're not really doing this in a test-driven style, as was mentioned before. John Z says, my process is usually to write tests, abandon tests when they are outpaced by development, make a big mistake, a test would catch, rewrite tests, and rinse and repeat. Yeah, that does end up being a way this happens. I usually just write tests once I've finished writing the code, and then I find a whole bunch of bugs, and then I rewrite the and then the tests. We got a lot of new code here that we haven't tested yet, which is a little bit scary, I suppose. So in world, move to room. We can make this a bang procedure because it does change the world state. So in the world, we're going to say set world. Is that just it? Set world current room. Maybe we don't need that, do we? Don't need it. So make move command. So is that it? Again, set world current room. World. And then exit. What is it? Exit room. Okay. We don't want format though. We want to return something else. Like something that a test can validate, not output. Jose is asking if this is MIT scheme. Nah, it's Guile. So yeah. To make it testable, it needs to return something, and then the driver of the game logic needs to be doing all the extra work. So this is just the logic, this game logic with a test attached to it, and then we can write something that does the real thing. We got a lot to do in the next 30 minutes to make this game work. So can I return? Maybe commands are actually returning information. They could throw exceptions, but I don't like writing tests against exceptions. I mean, I guess you could do it in Scheme maybe. Let's see. Test error. Well, it's possible to use test error. So, I love that. Let's just put a Java class path, class name inside of a Scheme specification. Is this a joke? I know it's Kawa and everything, but is this a joke? Test and prod. Play until you break it. Well, that's what I normally would do. All right, we're just going to use some silly thing here. We're going to use a very silly approach. Just import Java and use JUnit. Yes. Probably a better approach if you're using Java to begin with. Exit not found. Sure. Cool. We can test that. All right, make move command. So, oof. Let's just try to see if we can write a test that makes this work. All right, so make move command, parse command, default commands. All right, default commands. Let's go with that. Because I don't want to deal with it. So go back to world test, and then player can move in a cardinal direction. So we want the result to be true. Oh, no. Test assert. I'm pretty sure that's right. So we want to parse the command and then we want to execute it, but we really don't need to. So what we can do, let's export make move command. I guess I should have bound those to make this a little bit easier, but that's okay. We don't really need to worry too much about it. So make move command west. And this is going to be the test world. I guess we can make the game world every time. Make game world. Just have a clean world for every test. One benefit of this approach. What if instead of north, south, east, west, you had forward, back, left, right, aka relative directions? Then you would not know. You would have to keep a mental map of where you're at, more so than with cardinal directions, and I think that would be a headache, literally. So make move command west, make game world. So that would have to also accept args. Yes, it's how we actually navigate, but nobody wants to be doing that in their brain. I guess you have to, but whatever, whatever. Okay, we can try to run these tests. Let's just try to run it. Tendamog says, that's the expert mode. Yeah, it could be the expert mode. World test.scm. Ooh. All right. Unbound variable test begin. What did I do wrong? Surfy, oops. Surfy 64. All right, so it's supposed to be true, but it returned something else. Oh. Unbound variable make move command. Okay, so all right. So get room. Okay, yeah, I need to export some more things. So back in world, in fact, did I actually import world in command? No. Okay, so some of these have not been exported, I think. Wrong number of arguments to get room. Unbound variable. World current room. Exit room. Set world current room. And then get room wants a world and an ID. Okay, so we got world, and then we need the ID, which is the... excuse me. Okay, so now we can go look at the logs because they may have actually something a bit more useful. Actual value false. So why would it have false? If room, if exit, under which scenario would it end up causing a problem? Make move command west. Make game world, empty list. Returning false, which doesn't make sense. Oh. Maybe it's here. Oops. Hold on. Oh, unbound variable make game world. That's in world. It's not unbound. Is that in the test file though? Make game world. Make game world. It's exported. Hey, Robin. So why does it not let me call make game world? That seems a little bit wrong, unless it's in a different place. Actually, where is that error coming from? It's not telling me. So it's the only place where it's being called, right? And I'm pulling in grew world, unless I'm typing that wrong and I just am completely brain dead at this moment, which is possible. All right, so let's go into the shell and Guile L source. Use modules. Grew world. Hey, Robin. Hey, Benoit. I said hello to Robin already. Obviously, the brain's not working. Hello, Benoit. Wrong number of arguments in form. Make player. Okay, so this is why we're having a problem, and we can't see it because of the way that the module is being loaded. There actually is a syntax error in world and line 57 when we're calling make player. So make player right here. I am missing a parameter probably because I have a wait, make player. I forgot. I don't have the ability to give them an initial inventory. So that is probably the issue. So we've got one unexpected failure. Let's see. Back to the log. Still says make game world. I'm guessing it's a similar issue. So let's go back to the shell, pop out of here, go back in, and then reload that module. Wrong number of arguments to make room. Okay, and that's for the dark chamber room, make room. So title, description, exits, items. Title, so we need the titles as well. Okay, so that passed. Now, what we didn't do in the test is validate that after running the move command, it actually updated the game state. So we don't need test assert. We need test EQL, EQV, EQV. We're gonna call make move command. We're gonna do a little begin though. And then we're gonna ask the world state. Ooh, we're gonna have to let on that. So let's do it this way. And we're gonna want it to be equal to hallway 1. All right, so I'm missing a paren somewhere. There's that. There's this. Yeah, I think it's because I added the let. Okay, we got an error. Actual value false. How could it be false? World current room. Make move command. I'm gonna do an and here. So we want to make sure that make move command is returning. Well, that doesn't work, does it? Because we're returning errors otherwise. Okay, so Tottenham says else branch, maybe. Let's see. So we get the room, we get the exit. What we had done before was check to make sure that it returns, that the make move command returns true. We can just do this format. Did it eat the output? Yeah. What? I didn't actually see it get written out. So make move command west world. In the game world, the current room, I did not set that by default. All right, here we go. Back into world. Make world, the third one is current room. It needs to be entrance. Okay, so that explains why we didn't see anything, because it's not set. Maybe I should do this though, entrance. Let's move it in the constructor so that easier to create that. Okay. Oh, actual value entrance, expected value hallway 1. So it looks like it didn't change. Oh, I'm an idiot. That should be true. Exit not found. All right, so in the... I wonder if get exit is not right. Room exits room. Oh, the exits. I should have used symbols for this. Maybe not, though. Maybe there could be other exit names that are strings, but let's go with this for now. All right, it passed. So now we know we can move to an available exit. We got 15 minutes left. Do you want to try to like have there be a prompt for the player and then they can move the world that way? Let's see if we can do that, because I don't want to write more tests. That's really boring. So let's make something work. So let's go to main. We're going to use modules, GRU world and GRU command. I'm going to do a nice little input loop. Guile read line. There is I think it's in the, what do they call it? RDLM, Guile RDLM. Is that where it is? The ICE9 RDLM. Read line. All right. So just going to do a nice little loop. Input, read. No, let's not do that yet. Excuse me. Okay. First of all, we're going to describe the current room. So format. We used to do display, but yeah, let's do display. Actually, let's take that here. And what we'll do is, for the game world, we'll have a global variable for that, which is not great, but it's okay for now. So what we'll do is describe room, get room, world current room, world. We're going to describe the room. It's not actually accurate because you don't want to describe the room every time they type a command. You want to do it when they enter a room. No, it's not a contest. We're just doing this for fun. So we're going to display a prompt. Autumn Lisp Game Jam is later this month. It's not right now. Yes, the Game Jam's also fun, but this is just a one-off stream. We're not really going to spend more time on this after the stream. Just an idea ahead. Okay, so we got the input. We're going to use our, what is it, the parse command. Parse command. I can do let star. No. Sure. Let's do that. Tendemox says, inspired me, so stream success. Well, that's cool. So parse command input. What else do I have on that? Commands. So default commands. And the output needs to be, whoa, excuse me. I keep hitting insert. All right, so if command or, yeah, if command. Car command, world, footer command. Otherwise, display, don't know how to, and let me turn this to format. Don't know how to input. Sure. I probably need to trim that, but whatever. There is a string trim. Trim both. Okay. Since our game loop, it should pull the command and then apply it to the world. And then after we do that, we should then run game loop again ad infinitum. So I'm going to go into eat to do this. So this will be guile-l source main.scm. Okay, describe room is not a valid thing. So let me go into world.scm. And then when we have get room, I need to write, probably in the ideal world, I would break all these out into their own modules, but I don't have time. What did I just do? Okay, so format. So if pair room exits, Glenn says, do game jam entries have to be graphical? No, they do not. They can be text games, for sure. That is no problem at all. It would also be really cool if someone made a game that was only sound and not text or images. Yeah, plain Guile. This is just plain Guile. We're not doing anything fancy. All right, we'll do the for each on that in a moment. I guess we could just sort of start it. Lambda exit. It's going to be room exits. Okay, bump, 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 bump. I think it's going to be a win. They do not have to run in a browser. It's easier if they do run in a browser because people will be able to play them a lot more easily, but they do not have to run in a browser. So let's see, describe room. We have that written now. Invalid character in escape sequence. That is in world, the SCM, line 57. Oh, whoops. Okay, I did not export describe room. Unbound variable world, that is main, that SCM line 17. We're almost there. I mean, it's not going to be anything that special, but it'll do something. Get room, world ID, get room. I make this mistake constantly, it seems. Okay. And the prompt needs to have a new line before it also. Welcome to Gru Hunt, a dark chamber. You're standing in a dark chamber of a damp cavern. Strange rustling sounds come from the west. If I were to type in W here and press enter, well, it doesn't say anything because I'm not actually printing the room state after we... Tendermonk says, why don't you jump directly from file name to line number in the compilation mode output? Because... because the things that people are supposed to do, I often don't do them. Don't ask me why. I've adapted to bad tools in my life and career, and I just sort of stuck with some bad patterns. There are exits in following directions. We'll print those out. Maybe I should, in the describe function, how will I make it describe again? Because you don't want to describe the room after every single thing the user types in. There needs to be a way to indicate that the room description needs to be written. So when running the command, I can take the output of that and it might tell me a type of event. Then Mock says, I'll count the wasted key presses in seconds in next stream, then to weed you off bad habits. You can try that. It's not really a motivator for me. All right. I can match on the output here. There's a way to match literals, I think. Yeah, we're matching a specific pattern. All right, so... All right. Excuse me. So we need to change the implementation of world for, sorry, the command. To not return true. Let's just say needs describe. I don't know. So in main, we can do it like that and then say describe. Yeah, let me make a function for that. Functional fishing hook. I'm not doing that. All right, that's that. Describe this room. Describe this room. Okay. Main, check parens, somewhere in here, right there. Also, I need to have a okay, so there are exits in the following directions. Let me push west here. Boom. Okay, so we're actually walking now. I can do north as well. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't have that room wired up yet, but we can move west. And as soon as we move west, it writes something. So the exit thing, I need to fix that real quick. It's just so that we have something writing out. That's supposed to be a new line. So here I will say format. And that's going to be exit direction, exit. It's going to be exit description, exit. Exit direction. In world. Exit direction. Exit direction. All right, so wrong. Since it's an A list, this needs to be the car of the exit. So car of exit, and then exit description will be the on the cooter of exit. Cool. So we see there's an exit to the west. It's very simplistic, but it does work. So if I press W, press enter, then we see in a bend to the north. So it's working at a very, very basic level. We've modeled the game world. We've at a very, very basic level. I mean, we basically have a player that could have an inventory. It doesn't have anything in there yet. There could be items. We've spec'd out the shape of items. We've got rooms that have exits and connections between exits. It is possible to move between rooms. We can parse commands and then run a given procedure that's attached to a command. I mean, it's a fair amount of code for now. It would be nice if we had made more progress, but I guess with a game like this, you can't really make super, super fast progress unless you've done this before or you're a bit more focused than I am. I'm kind of fighting lack of sufficient sleep plus being sick at the same time. Let's see. DTG says, oh, cool, yeah, registering event hooks on move. Yeah, that's basically... It's not the best way to do it, but it is a cheap way to do it where a command can return some kind of indicator saying what happened, or maybe there's like a protocol between a command handler and the game loop where the game loop expects certain symbols and can react based on that, so that you don't have to have some kind of complicated wiring between the command to like call the describe function itself. I feel like that's pretty nasty. You don't want that because you want to keep your functions accepting inputs that don't really require any context other than the inputs themselves, and then returning some output without having to do other unnecessary mutations. Already, the move, what was it called? Make move command. Yeah, make move command is mutating the world by setting the current room value on the world, but that's okay because that's expected. That is kind of testable so long as you can easily create a world object fresh and then run your test procedures on it. But if your if your functions are calling another procedure that is writing things out to standard out at the same time, then it gets really wacky. So something to avoid if you want to have testable code. So it's a fishing game? No, it's not a fishing game, Benoit. That's what everybody was asking for, but I did not bow down to the fishing game wanters because I'm not playing into the meme right now. It's all a bag of lies about me being a fisherman. But somebody should make a text-based fishing adventure game. That might be pretty interesting. This won't be me. My game is supposed to be a game where the adventurer wants to be eaten by a grue, and the grue is afraid, so the adventurer is trying to find the grue so he can be eaten by the grue. Sounds a little bit strange, but that's just the way that I like to do things. Bigger Ear says, fishing simulator. excuse me, text-based. Could be. Benoit says Dwarf Fortress has some fishing. Dwarf Fortress has everything. That doesn't really count, I think, because that game's been in development for how many years now? 15 years at least? How long? How long has Dwarf Fortress been in development? Since 2002. So if someone could do math on my behalf because my brain is fried, it's about 20 years. No, it's more than 20 years. Yes, 22 years. Sheesh. 22 years. That's half as long as Emacs. Which is pretty damn long. All right. Okay, that's it. Okay, we did it. I mean, we did it to some degree. If I had 4 hours, we would probably have an end-to-end game working, but we only had 2 hours, maybe an hour and 30 minutes after I finished talking for the first 30 minutes. So hopefully, if you've never written Scheme before, that piqued your interest a little bit about learning something about Scheme. This is not the best Scheme code ever written. It is Scheme code. Some of the things are special to Guile, or there's sort of extensions to the Scheme language that, excuse me, that you don't see in the base R7RS small specification or any of the other previous specifications, like the match expression. That's not standard in Scheme, but a lot of Scheme implementations have it. Leonic says, part 2, I don't know. If people want to see a part 2, I would do a part 2. I would like to do more live coding in general on the channel, but I don't know if people get bored with it, so we'll see. Usually when I do live coding streams for game jams and stuff, the streams don't get very many views. So I don't know. I don't know how worth it is. But we'll do some more live coding in general. And some more programming talk soon. All right. So one last reminder about the hands-on Guile Scheme for Beginners course, which is now on demand. It's not a cohort-based thing anymore, so you can just go take it on demand anytime you want. It's on the System Crafters website. If you go to the main System Crafters site, you'll see a link to it, so easier to just jump in on that. If you're interested, and please feel free to ask questions if you have any about it. Judy says, I was co-working, or whatever it's called. I was programming while you were programming. Yes. No, you don't have to screen scrape for it, Technomag. I'm going to put it in the show notes. So the code that we wrote today, I will put in the show notes so that you have access to it. I'll go do that either right now or within an hour. Because I have to go, feed a 1-year-old. Repo? I don't know. If I were to put it in a repo, then it means I'm going to have to actually, keep working on it. I don't know if I want to do that. I suppose putting it in a repo is probably the best thing to do, so maybe I'll do that. Okay, good idea, Nekotani. I mean, we might as well in case we decide to come back to this at any given point. I would think that this is not going to be a very big project, so it should be fine. Okay. Thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate your time and attention. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Let me know if you did, or let me know if you didn't. And until next time, have a great weekend and happy hacking. We'll see you.